Back in that bag again. Whoa, oh, yeah. Hey. Back in that, yeah. Tell them to watch it. Now I ain't talking my pockets. Just know we ain't running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she slide and tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that shit doing. Then she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on. Put that 90 in a hole. I'm beating it down. I'm back in that bag again.
This is how I know that Phil hasn't listened to the new intro music yet. Is I get to see his reaction in real time.
Yeah, what you doing? Yeah. I'm back in that. Hey, where you going? Hey, back in that bag again. To bring me around your friends. You know that I'm bagging them.
I was like, wait, this is us.
This is our jam now.
We're back.
We back.
We back.
Between Two Wrenches podcast. Phil has returned triumphantly from his jiu-jitsu hands experiment.
It was definitely an experiment.
No.
It was good. No, it was really good.
Bronze medal.
Yep. Took third place. Fought for the podium.
You sent us all a picture of your medal, and if you wouldn't have stated that it was a bronze medal, we'd have been like, dude, you brought home the gold.
I definitely could have done that,
but you did not. You were like, it's a bronze medal.
It was a lot of emotion that day, but no, it was a ton of fun. It was a lot of tough dudes down there too. So, but
hey, you still medaled.
That's right.
Yeah, on the podium.
I'm all right with that. I didn't get skunked.
You came back and now you're, threw your back out. So I feel like it's par for the course.
It was pretty crazy to make it for 2 weeks or 2 months of extremely hard training, and then I come back and look in the mirror wrong and throw my back out for 2 days. But we're healing, and I'm just gonna see what tomorrow brings.
Well, it's gonna bring us a lot. Not a lot, but we have plenty of things coming up on the horizon that we should talk about. First and foremost, Jeep Beach is now 3.5 weeks away. 3 weeks away.
Yes, sir.
Daytona Beach, Florida. We're gonna be down there with Gel Blaster, doing a bunch of things. Destination Daytona for the welcome party. That is on Saturday the 22nd in Daytona Beach, and then the main vendor event that following weekend. And we'll be out and about throughout all of the events during Jeep Beach, April 23rd through the 30th. So last week in April.
That's good. I like how you just access to that memory bank for the dates.
Could you read it in my brain?
Yeah, you're like ting 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 ting.
The filing cabinet that is my brain. Yeah. We got to push the cobwebs out of the way a little bit.
Mine's like a Rubbermaid tote. That's my filing box. Everything's
is it a new one or is it an old one? Like the old ones have like the broken handles on it.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely the old one. Yeah. Yep.
Plastic starting to deteriorate. Yeah,
there's a big crack in the bottom.
Yeah, it's already liquid has already leaked in and ruined whatever paperwork you had filed away in there. Yeah, it's personal experience. So we have that coming up. G Beach again in April down in Florida. A couple of dates to save. May 20th is Go Topless Day, our Go Topless Day cruise. Second year we've been a part of that. So make sure you check out. Starting on Monday, we'll have registration open for that, and we'll start talking about the route. And again, all the proceeds from that cruise will go to Crawl for the Cure, which is coming up in July.
Yes, sir.
Over in Gilbert. So that's coming up. And also Country Jam. We're going to be doing some cool stuff with Country Jam. That is in July. New grounds, great lineup. That is everybody going to be? You've seen the lineup.
I have seen the lineup.
Do you have somebody who that you're targeting? Like, man, I can't wait to see so and so. It's going to be.
Well, I mean, like, I can't wait to see Tim McGraw because, like,
when I think Tim McGraw,
I think of like high school, and he was definitely an OG for me. But I'm also excited to see Dierks Bentley and, like, I don't know, hold up pictures of cool old Jeeps because he's a Jeep nut. So I'm hoping that maybe we can connect. Who knows? Maybe we can take him for a cruise.
We get drunk on a plane or something.
Dirks, if you're out there and you can hear me, let's do things together.
I hear he's a huge fan of this podcast. It's one of his go-tos,
Well, the road's a long, lonely place. And
when you get down to the 240th ranked automotive podcast on Apple Podcasts, you've been on the road for much of the year. Whiskey Myers is going to be there. I'm super excited to see Whiskey Myers. They're going to put on a hell of a show. And I want to say I got caught, but I was trying to find us all matching bell-bottom pants to wear when Lainey Wilson performs, because she's bell-bottom country. Lainey Wilson's doing Lainey Wilson things. I'm like, well, how brilliant of an idea to get her attention than to dress just like her.
I think that's a great idea.
I may have had somebody over my shoulder at home that was like, "What are you looking at bell-bottom pants for?" And I was like, "Well, your birthday is coming up in like 11 months." So I was really just trying to get a head start. It did not go over
really
that well. So
for Halloween.
it's definitely, which also happens to be her birthday. So,
Hey,
I love it when a plan comes together. Yep. So that's kind of what's on our horizon, and if you follow us on the social medias, you'll be up to date with that. Did you throw your back out again?
no, it's just stretching. I'm stretching.
You worry. That face makes me worry.
I know. Makes me worry too.
Excited to have our guest on this week. Brook
I
from
know.
Revolution. Garen Axel is hanging out on the other end. We chatted up with him. I believe they're going to a place we're not going this year, and that's Easter Jeep Safari.
Well, I can't wait to hear their plans.
They're probably going to be awesome.
I know.
All right, well, let's.
Where is he?
Hang on, I gotta bring him in. I gotta press the buttons here. Remember me and the buttons?
Oh, do I?
There we go.
Hey,
Brook is here.
What is up, my Max-Bilt brethren?
What's happening? Honored to have you on here, Brook.
Yeah, honored to be on the 240th famous automotive podcast.
I know.
I
Let's
know.
bump
You know
that
what-
up.
You know what I haven't found out is like what's below us. Like I want to know what 241 is.
I only look up, Coop. I don't look down. I don't want to know how scary it is.
Onward and upward.
That's right.
Forward momentum.
One Direction. There's a band. One Direction.
Should be if it's not.
Yeah.
Brooke, you're heading out. You're heading out to Moab soon.
Yeah. This has been a mad scramble this week, getting stuff packed up, ready to go, wrenching on the Jeep. Can't wait. Moab's my grounding spot. I get out there every year and kind of refocus everything and rub shoulders and elbows with customers and vendors alike, and it's just a blast. I've had a great time with you guys out there before, and we're gonna do it again.
Yeah, let's bring up that picture. This is the last time we were. Check this out. Look at that motley crew of individuals there. Moab 2022 throwback.
The
for you.
calm before the storm.
Yeah, that sounds right. How many years have you been going out to the Easter Jeep Safari now, Brook?
Well, it's been about 15 years, not in a row. I've missed a couple here and there, but as you know, it is not your grandfather's Easter Jeep Safari anymore. That town is growing, excitingly so. Still supportive of the Jeep world with some changes. It's a lot different, but it's got a special place in my heart always, forever.
Yep, absolutely. I'd say we started going in 2008, and I think for the first 10 years, I didn't miss a year, and then it was, 2016 was the first year that I missed because we did Jeep Beach, and it was one of those where they were super close, and it was like, man, we needed to try it, and Jeep Beach was great, and then I want to say COVID year we didn't do it either, but other than that we've kind of done it, and we're skipping this year for a little Jeep Beach action. It's just hard to get it all in.
It is back to back, and that's a long haul, but Kevin, our owner, and our head sales guy Matt from Chicago will be down there at Jeep Beach, so you get to party with those guys a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to.
Yeah, we should connect this time. This time we'll send the A team in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the last time we were in Vegas, and I had moved flights around, and about the time that I had moved the flight around, Coop's like, "Well, that's great, but that conflicts with the meeting that we had with the Revolution guys." And I was like, "Oh, well, we'll just screwed up, but we'll just see if the guys that are still hanging around that are driving back could do it."
The guys that enjoy Vegas, see if they wanted to go
Right.
and do
Yeah,
Vegas.
dude. I was so Vegased out by that. Well, SEMA, and it gets to be intense, and there's the bright lights of the city just don't mesmerize me anymore.
And it was cold. I mean, for us especially, we go out into the desert expecting during the day to have desert-like weather, and it was cold. Those ladies of the night were like, like, hey, instead of some cash, how about a jacket?
Right.
There was a weird exchange program going on down there. So I understand, like, it doesn't have that same feel when when you travel out there and becomes part of the sun and it's warm and the lights, it all kind of blends all together. When it's cold and kind of miserable, when they're trying to figure out how to like light, those propane fueled heaters at some of the outdoor bars, they're like, we can help. We have these things in Wisconsin. It's like every third block we have these. We got it figured out. I get why you were like, yeah, well, let's exit stage left. However, we did end up stranded in the airport for 6.5 hours. We didn't even make the damn flight.
We didn't even make the flight that I changed it to. So then we were like, well, maybe we should go back and hang out with those guys.
It made for some interesting content at the airport, I saw.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've never been. I was just fed up with traveling for the year too. It was like, It was just the last straw. I mean, too, man, it gets show season and it can be back to back to back when, I think since COVID, we've definitely analyzed how we go across the country, because some of the events that you almost kind of feel obligated going to some of them, whether they're productive or not, we were able to kind of do an all stop and really assess that. And, that way we can kind of feed them in and we still have a boatload of events on the calendar for this year. I was looking at your guys' schedule and you're definitely getting out there, but you're right. There's certain shows that you feel like you need to be at, certain ones that you prefer. SEMA is just a drain. It's long days, longer nights, wake up and do it all again. I just feel like it takes 2 weeks off of my life every time I go.
At least they're the ones at the end. They're not cutting them out of the middle. It's towards the end and you'll be like, oh, I'm being taxed for those trips out to SEMA. And the crazy thing about being stuck at the airport in Vegas, and the reason that the content we created was the content that we created, which was basically us screwing around on the escalators throughout the entire airport. Because if you're just stranded in the airport in Vegas, you're either not leaving ever.
Right.
Or you're leaving in cuffs, or you're going to fall asleep and end up, on the wrong flight to, going to Singapore instead. So we're like, we should do something to distract ourselves, at least for a couple of hours.
Spend a few minutes away from the bar and
or the slot machines. Like we ended up right next to our gate. Like we're not missing it this time. I'm like, well, there is a slot machine here.
And then pretty
soon
do they still have those? Man, what is happening?
Do they still have those sealed boxes where people can go in and smoke cigarettes?
Oh yeah. Yep.
That always cracked me up. Like, oh, that's what a nice area.
Yeah. Just airlock chamber. Yeah. I don't know. To each their own, I guess. So, Brooke, how long have you been in the industry? I know you've been
I was just talking about that the other day. It's well over 20 years now. I think it's 21 or 22. And 8 or 9 years with Revolution already, believe it or not. I know, Phil, I met you out at Off-Road Expo out here. I think my first year with Revolution. And so it's been going, the time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely. No, that was a good show. I'm trying to think of when that was. What year was that?
I'm horrible with years, but it had to be
2012.
And 9 years ago would have been
Oh,
math.
Not my strong suit. Between 12 and 14 somewhere.
2015.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I remember a late night in and out visit with you riding shotgun, and a couple cocktails might have been involved.
There was quite a few, I think, that evening.
Yeah, that tends to happen with me. Yeah. I've since retired from my drinking career, but we'll always have the memories.
Absolutely. Well, don't worry. We could still stay up late and go to In-N-Out Burger. And
oh yeah,
there's plenty.
And
of
I can drive.
Right. Exactly.
We have transportation. It's going to save on our Uber bill next time we're hanging out with Brooke.
Right. Yeah. We were talking about our Moab trip and what parties we're going to go to at night, and I'm like, yeah, I can drive your drunk asses around. It'll be great.
All of them. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Well, so are you guys going to hit up Danny Grimes' Grandpa's Garage at all, you think?
Yeah, I have to go visit Danny. He's my buddy. We go way back, and
Yeah.
you want to hear some stories? Get him talking about the changes in Moab, and you'll be in for a long ride.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think last year during the day I had we were all set to go on Hell's Revenge.
It was on the Revolution.
Oh,
Ride.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Because
right.
we met up with Brooke, and then all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah. Mayday.
not happening.
My steering gearbox had literally ripped off the frame, and I kind of knew something was up driving to the trailhead that morning, because I was like, instead of just the normal like 10 to 2 wander that old thing had, it was like 7 to 5, and I was like, oh man, this
Wheels on the bus go round and round, round. And
Yeah, you need one of those wheels on the steering
yeah,
wheel, like
big
the old
suicide
bus.
knob, right? And
Yeah.
then we got there, and I was like, hey, I just met up with my cousin who lives in Fruta. He had just bought Balanced Rock Inn. So anybody traveling to Moab needing a place to stay, coming from the east, it's an awesome little spot. But
ask them about their snack machine. It's fabulous.
yeah, it is.
Best snack machine this side of the Mississippi.
Yep. And so Jonathan came down, and he was all excited to go wheeling that day out on Hell's Revenge. And I was like, oh yeah, you get to meet the crew. And we get there, and I was like, wiggle the wheel, would you? And look, and the box was moving probably 1.5 inches off the frame. Held on. One of the bolts had snapped. 2 of the other ones were missing. So it was literally just held on there with one bolt. So
You don't
ratchet
need
strapped-
steering up Hell's Gate. Just point and shoot, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's later in the story, pretty much. So we ratchet strapped the gearbox to the frame, and we went. I think we went to. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. It wasn't Danny's. It was
Rory?
Rory. Yep, it was Rory's place, and they were like, "Man, we can't help you." And I said, all right, I understand. And I was like, well, I'll buzz over and see what Danny knows. And of course, he happened to be there. And there's some other guys just getting done fixing something. And he's got just a really cool pay it forward attitude with all that. And got to go in there. But in the meantime, you hit the right topic or whatever. And then that opens up, Storybook Central with Danny Grimes. And so we were sitting around listening to stories, and that while the other guys finished up, and then Danny's he had to head out. So he literally was like, all right, well, here's my shop. Here's where everything is. Use whatever you need. I just asked that if you use things, any consumables, you replace them. And he put this sticker on, but you can only put this sticker on your rig if you've been working on it here at the shop. I thought that was super cool. So we welded up some braces and kind of put everything back together, and then just floored it. And we went backwards up. What is that drop right after Mickey's hot tub where you go down? That
Right.
super steep drop. I remember going up backwards, or it was coming up that, and it jogs to the left and to the right a little bit. And when it jogs to the left, there's a hole. Well, I was in second gear, just pinning it to try to get up quickly. Well, the ass end hopped a little bit and hopped to the left and fell down into that hole So the whole front end just went up, and all we saw was sky. And then we got to the top and found out that you guys had just left there. So we ended up after I got my wits about me after just realizing what had happened, then I was like, okay, all right. Oh, we got to turn around, go back down that thing? All right, so then we go down it. And then ended up catching up with you guys right where you were having a little bit of an issue with, what was that? What happened?
Yeah, Brandon, his Gladiator, something electrical was cutting out. I can't remember what it was, but it ended up being a pretty easy fix. It was one of the guys from America's Most Wanted was out there with us, and their head engineer mechanic was there, and he just said, unplug that, undo that, do that, and boom, we were out. I thought I was towing his heavy pig all the way back to town, but
That's
ended up
awesome.
being all right.
I think we also watched the America's Most Wanted guys just skin up the whole side of one of their gladiators too, if I remember right, going up escalator.
Yeah.
We all looked like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
About 10, 12 years ago, I had the full tube chassis buggy, and it's like a whole nother brand of wheeling because you can just, put it on its side, drag a tube all the way up the rocks. But when you're driving these a little bit more expensive Jeeps and you're a little more worried about scratching stuff, it's a whole nother world. So I really enjoyed that type of wheeling because you really got to think about stuff instead of just blasting through it.
And we got separated because we like you had gone back.
Yep.
And so it was myself solo and Adam.
Yep.
Was solo as well. No, Adam took Jonathan with him
because I took Danny to help me fabricate whatever needed to be fabricated.
Right, and then we had a couple other people with us, great friends and great customers of ours that were out there, and so we got behind some like side by sides, and so like the rest of the crew and Adam was in front of us. All of a sudden, the side by sides kind of cut us off, and so I'm like, this is my first time in Moab actually doing like legit wheeling. I mean, we did like the North Rim of the Grand Canyon stuff. I'm like, sure, let's just go. So it's like me leading another group of individuals who had never wheeled before. Don't know which, stay to the left, stay to the right. Well, I don't know, just follow the tire tracks.
Yeah.
and eventually, we made it, which I think was the exit, caught back up with Adam eventually. And then we were at the end of the entire run. And all of a sudden you just hear, like the cartoon noises of what, falling down rocks sounds like. And here comes
Timber.
Timber's just coming, just hauling ass through the dust is flying up. We're like, oh, well, I guess nobody died. It's like no Jeep blops today.
If you go faster over the bumps in a leaf spring, it still hurts, but it just hurts faster.
They got those racing
levels
seats
it out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Balance.
Well, and then all that work that we did, ended up cracking the whole gearbox after. So we just ended up putting it pretty much on the trailer after we made it home that day.
A couple of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I put toe straps on there. It was fine. Cinched it a little bit.
Yeah, but going back to Graham's, we had one of my good buddies, John Murray from New Jersey. He'd read about it in Four Wheel Magazine and all that, all the stories, and just goes to show what the heart of the off-road industry is. It's like a big family, almost a traveling circus. And Danny, gives out his shop for anybody to work on whatever they need to. Just like Phil said, just replace what you do, and then if you get that sticker, that is a badge of honor that not a lot of people get.
That's pretty cool.
Danny we were talking, and he goes into his old box and he pulled out one of the original stickers like ever made and gave it to my buddy John. And I got a picture of John holding that sticker, and he looks like a 17-year-old girl talking to her middle school crush. I'm going to frame that thing and send it to him. It was so cool. And it's just such a cool spot with so much history, and that's what all this should be about, I think.
It's definitely the camaraderie, the culture. Sure, it's a sport, it's an industry, we're all in it, but I don't know if any of us feel like we have to go to work today. We get to go we get to work with awesome people in an awesome industry with customers that are doing, there's ups and downs, but there will be in anything, but
Well, I think that's where you gain perspective, because there are going to be days when you're like, shit, like we got to do this today. We have 14 back-to-back meetings. Why doesn't the thing work when I plug it in and shake it? It's supposed to do what I ask it to do. But when you put that into perspective of what like people who go to their job and just are miserable every day, you're like, well,
right. This isn't all that bad.
I guess it's all right.
Right.
Let's survive.
Yeah. The industry has been pretty crazy the last couple of years with COVID and everything going on. It's we're having a hard time answering the phone and keeping up and just pumping out parts, and seems to be getting back on track. So everything's good there.
Yeah. No. Did you guys struggle with? I know that was definitely we didn't catch it till later on, and I feel like you guys didn't either. At the leading edge of COVID, it was fine, and everybody was talking about oh my gosh, this is a problem. But I feel like we didn't struggle with that until the tail end of it.
Yeah, it was pretty wild because I think we were all kind of gearing up for the market to slow down, but it was the complete opposite. It was like everybody's buying everything and we're doing everything we can to manufacture enough to keep everything going.
Yeah.
And, you know, now we've upped our capacity, um, stock's better than ever, and we'll see what happens.
Well, that's, yeah. Just keep it going. And we're not asking for a lot. We don't need to set any more 2020 records, but we just hope that any storms that are on the horizons, we can just kind of weather them. I know back in 07 to 10, really. But
yeah,
I remember reading an article in the Off-Road Industry magazine in 2009, and it was like the whole off-road aftermarket was up some like 90%. And the consensus is that even if it's a horrible market and everything's at a downturn, people are going to spend money on things that make them feel good. And that's where they're going to run up their credit card. And I remembered that going into COVID too. And it was like, well, we just have to be available for our customers because, if this is the type of stuff that they do when the rest of the world seems too chaotic, we got to be able to be there for them. So we're essential as possible. And even if they say we're not essential, we're still going to be here being essential. And it just one thing after another, man, we just couldn't believe it. But there was once, I look at a lot of times I'll look at the construction industry to see, and gauge our sales off of that. Because I found that when they're busy, we get busy about 6 months after they're like swamped. But then also if they start saying that like they're, it's hard to find work or they're losing employees or whatever, about 6 months after that is when we start seeing a little bit of a slowdown too. It's almost like when everybody's eating and everybody, when everything is hot to trot, they have to pay off some of their other stuff first. And then that 6 months later, then they're like, all right, let's have fun with it. And it might just be coincidence, and I have friends in the construction industry.
Right. Well, and it just shows that the whole philosophy of, well, in tough times, you gotta save, you gotta watch your dollars. People are like, no, if this is the last rodeo that I'm going on, guess what?
Exactly.
We're going out with 513s and, and 40s and there's just no, footloose and fancy free with stuff. And same thing with construction. It's like, well, what a better time to build a house or build, homes, because that industry sure did not slow down during 2020.
No.
I mean, if you look at even a small suburb of our town, Altoona, they built, hundreds of houses during that time period. They just kept on building, and new developments kept on going up. I'm like, well, apparently the money tree is still growing out back. So people they will find a way because they're not spending it on, going on, luxurious vacations or things like that. But when you offer them, especially during COVID, when everything else was a no-go, this was like overlanding and off-roading were the two things like, well, this is what everybody's going to get into because, okay, go somewhere and be away from people.
Deal.
All right. How do I get there? Well, guess what? The internet still works.
Right.
Find your parts and find your guy that can build it or, DIY it yourself. And that's, but then everybody's still setting their industry standards by 2020. You're like, well, here's the deal.
Right. Yeah, we can't do that.
There's a little bit of an asterisk. There's a little bit of a Barry Bonds strike here on the home run leaderboard, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, can you price match this? No, I have it. Do you want it? Yes.
Yep. Well, and like you said too, or like projecting like what the next year is going to look like. And then you look at the last 5 years, you almost have to take 2020 and 2021 and throw them out. And then
for sure.
But yeah, no, it's been interesting. And I've been in the industry long enough to be able to like see trends, which also I don't feel like that. But then I'm like, oh man, I've been doing this since '08. That's a long time. Weird.
It is.
I don't
We're
feel
becoming
like
the older generation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. Anyways, all right, we'll just move on past that. But
Whoops. Sorry. Snuck in there.
so tell us a little bit about, I mean, Revolution's obviously grown since since I kind of got the backstory at the expo. Remember the expo in Louisville? That was a good time too.
Oh yeah, most of it.
Yeah. But thinking back to that and like over the last, I guess, 6-8 years, how's Revolution? You're more than just gear sets. Tell us a little bit about the business and what you guys got to offer.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, there was a lot of different gear manufacturers, and we just stick to the one that manufactures the high quality stuff out of Korea. And that's what a lot of people like, is when they get our gear, they know it'll set up exactly like the last one they got, versus some of the other, companies are using several manufacturers, so you never really know what you're getting in the box. And then those, good gears paired with the American-made axles that Superior used to do before they went under. We picked up that line and combined what we feel as the best gears and the best, chromoly shafts under the same roof. That's where we kind of started. That was our bread and butter. Dove in real deep in the Jeep niche market, as you know, and through the years just expanded more and more. You got a lot of new products coming in, a lot of good relationships established with other companies. We're a big supplier for Dana, their crate axle system, the UD44s and UD60s, moving a lot of those. Good inventory and relationship with both Eaton and ARB. So lockers, you need gears, you need lockers to go off-roading, right?
Oh yeah.
We got a whole line of drive shafts coming out. This is breaking news, not released. Talking about it here for the first time.
Man,
so
we're about to move up to like the 230s.
I knew it. This is what it takes. This is it.
Yeah. So we'll have SKUs for all Jeep applications, front and rear, 1310, 1350, all of it. Some other cool stuff, our chromoly axles for the JLs and JTs have come out. We figured out how to use the larger Dana 60 U-joint in the front JL axle shafts, so it'll clear with no clearance issues. So bigger is always better, right?
That's usually what they.
Yeah,
that is what they say, right?
Pretty much the consensus, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a lot going on over here, and we're just continuing to add more and more and expand.
That's awesome. So the drive shafts, is that are you outsourcing that from Korea also, or is that
no these are all going to be American made. Kevin Kim, our owner, the whole story with CHA Industries. His dad started bringing the gears over in 1986. He was big with transfer case and manual transmission components, which we still do under the proactive gear side of the business. And Kevin came in, he's the shot in the arm this company really needed. Real sharp, knows his stuff. We work really well together and just was really taking it to the next level. So anyway, the reason I bring that up is, he's a veteran, he served. So we're real proud to be veteran owned and operated and support the American market as much as we can. So American axles and drive shafts, not many people manufacture gears in the States anymore. Matter of fact, I don't think anybody does. So it's just part of the process. The machining, the broaching is so highly taxed here. It's cost-wise, it's not real feasible. So
Yep.
That's why we stick with the Korean gears.
Where's he going?
I don't know. He's got, look at that. Oh, man, that's beefy.
Look at that shaft. Man.
So all of you that aren't watching, I'm just showing them one of our new drive shafts.
I like how you just happen to have that behind you in your office. That was pretty.
It's
like,
such a weird thing. I don't know
for
what
my
it's doing
next
in
number.
here.
Oh, look at that! Just happened to have this. He carries it around everywhere he goes.
Does.
That's
He's
his
got a
big stick.
special-
Walk softly. Carry a big
Special
stick.
sheath that he keeps it in. Just pulls it out like a lightsaber. You know, like Conan the
Yeah.
Barbarian sword.
While we're on the show and tell, we came out with our chromoly cross revolutionary joints and needle bearing design, so you don't have to grease it all the time. So just coming out with new widgets and doodads as often as we can.
Well, and it sounds like you're not just making the widgets and doodads to fill a SKU. You're doing it right. You're making the stuff that's strong, gonna last. Take the time to develop what needs to be developed.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole point. And what we want to be known for is quality. And everybody asks, "What's your tire limit on this certain part?" And we say there is no limit. We build it to be broke. If you can break it, we'll give you a frickin' medal.
That's our warranty is the same way. We don't really ask for anything other than you take a picture or a video of whatever you were doing, because it was probably pretty cool.
Yeah. I had this sweet old guy on the phone yesterday. I think he said he was 61. He broke one of our American-made rear axle shafts for a JK, and which is really rare. So I said, "What the hell are you doing?" And he was kind of holding back. He didn't want to tell me, like I wasn't going to warranty it. I said, no, it's covered no matter what. Now tell me what really
I
happened.
just got to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
He said, it got a little air, had some wheel speed. And I'm like, awesome, right on. Got any videos?
That's awesome. What's well, I got to ask, what's the most catastrophic axle or breakage? What's the most catastrophic breakage that you've been a party to?
Well, I've seen a lot on the trails. It's hard to pin down any one in particular. Man, I'll tell you one funny story. This guy had a set of Eaton e-lockers, so it's a electric operated selectable locker, obviously, and he installed them. This was years ago, and decided he wanted to go with the manual cable locker, the aux locker.
Yep.
So he filled his differentials up with kerosene and drove it around his backyard in order to clean the Eaton e-locker to return it.
No way.
Yeah, I was like, this guy.
It
was classic.
That's amazing.
Right?
Would have gone a different direction there.
Yeah. I could just imagine getting the box back and smelling it like, what the hell is wrong with this?
Well, I mean, I could see where, it really got in there and cleaned it. I'm sure I could see where there's that thought process.
I was going to say, you follow the train of thought.
And I'm like, all right, well, then I'll do that. And then, yeah.
How long do you sit down and ponder that idea, though? You're like,
I don't think you ponder it too long. I think that's like,
Go.
I'll just do that. Yep.
that
Next.
sounds like a good
I got
plan.
this kerosene here. We'll just move along.
Yeah.
I don't have a tote to put this carrier in. So,
Right.
oof.
Let alone pulling the bearings off and scratching up the bearing journals. But the kerosene will do the trick.
Ooh. No thanks.
But we've seen a lot of axles explode, and sometimes when you pop especially a rear shaft, it'll take out the locker too. So it's nice to have that nice clean break right outside the splines. That seems to be, if our stuff does break, that's where it goes and saves the locker instead of grenading it inside.
Yeah, thankfully. Yeah, we've been utilizing your guys' stuff. It's just been kind of anytime we've got axle upgrades, we just use your stuff. We can count on it. It's reliable. It's been a part of, well, I would say, if not almost every one of our major projects.
Right. It's always been a good relationship. We go back a long ways, and I appreciate the support on every level.
Absolutely, Brooke. No, it's good to have you in our corner, since trying to just pull the flagship here in the Midwest. It seems like there's not a lot of stuff happening in the Midwest. We got a lot of West Coast guys, a lot of East Coast guys, but we're glad to be here holding the Revolution flag in little old Wisconsin.
It's always good to have a rear end specialist in your corner.
That's right.
Can we get that put on a t-shirt? I'm just asking. I'm the marketing guy. I got to know.
Speaking of Lainey Wilson.
Hey, Lainey Wilson.
Bell bottoms. That's a good idea for a shirt.
She got to dump like a truck.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, awesome. So what's so EJS and you'll have the guys down at Jeep Beach. What else is on your guys' agenda for the year?
Yeah, we were going over the show schedule. Kevin's really taken a big part in that. So a lot of the East Coast stuff, the Chicago guys take care of. California, I'm over here on the West Coast, so I'll be hitting King of the Hammers. Trail Heroes become one of my new favorite shows.
We've been asked to be out there quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, we'll be running the Rubicon, of course. East Coast, we'll be doing Smoky Mountain, Bantam.
Okay. Perfect. Oh, nice. Bantam too.
We'll be there.
Yep. So I got to get you together with Matt. He's our resident Italian Guido sales guy out of Chicago. You'll absolutely love him. I don't know if you've met him yet or not, but you guys will hit it off for sure.
No, I look forward to it for sure. Yeah.
We got to square away some of those hats, though. See those
fancy
Revolution hats?
I know.
If
I would have had one, I would have wore it today.
We have this new prototype Revolution Gear Life.
That's that old, that's that old High Life.
I love that.
Look.
You said it, not me. It's not a copyright infringement. I don't know.
No, it's just
High Times. Wait, it's also a copyright thing. It's what?
Yeah. So we'll get you set up with some swag. You know that.
Sweet. Appreciate it. No, absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like we'll be crossing paths a lot this year with those trips. Bantam and Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion will be out there in August. Bantam in June to kick off Epic Blaze Adventure, which is going to be amazing. Out east.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Coop sent me your guys' travel schedule, and I was like, wow. You're saying you're cutting back on shows, but you guys are still getting out there, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's hard to say no. Been practicing that more and more.
Yeah.
And
it's working out real well. We're like, oh, we crossed that one off the list for this year. And then I'm like, well, but I feel like we can make it happen. I feel like we have it in the budget, and I feel like it's an important place to be. That was a lot of it was, I think, is finding your swing and like, okay, this is the place where we know we can, it fits our brand, it fits our style. We know we have a great audience and followership. That's why we kind of went with the shows that we went with. And some of the smaller ones, we're kind of like, well, it's a lot of it came down to like here or there. EJS and Jeep Beach came down to like, man, the proximity is extremely far away. Plus, we're all coming from Wisconsin. Timing just was like it was one or the other deal, and we decided after this winter, we're going to Daytona, man. Sorry,
it's been never ending this winter.
We're supposed to get more like 4 to 8 inches of snow on Saturday. I'm just done with it all.
Oh my,
done. DUN done.
Yeah, I moved down here from Seattle about 12 years ago, and Los Angeles has actually gotten more rain than Seattle is so far this year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you didn't expect that.
It's been wild. Supposedly we need it, but funny quick story while we're on the topic of shows. I usually go out to the New Jersey Jeep Invasion, which is also a great show. So I've been telling all my buddies out in Jersey, yeah, I'll be there. I'll see you on the beach. It's out at Wildwood on the boardwalk. Really cool. Yep. And then one of my customers reminded me, he said, aren't you having a baby? When's the due date? And it was that week. So I was like, oh, yeah, I should probably start considering that.
Well, yeah. And if it's close to that due date, it's probably the last time you'll go there.
Exactly. So I will be missing out on the New Jersey Jeep Invasion this year.
Fair enough. I have a story.
Couldn't finagle that one, huh?
No. So
it's close. Like,
I remember we've got a local event on Memorial Day weekend in Dresser, Wisconsin. And I had never been to it. Always wanted to go. And finally, in 2011, I was like, our son his due date was like June 17th. It was like right around Father's Day. And I was like, well, perfect. I'll do dresser, and it's the last thing that I'll do before, baby. And so that Friday, it was Thursday. Wait, I'm trying to think. No, maybe it was Friday. But anyways, I had the Thursday night, I'd packed the Jeep up. It was all ready to go so that Friday morning I would be able to leave right from work till like whatever, early afternoon, and then leave. And then I was going to meet some buddies up there and just have a blast. Well, I get woken up at like 3 a.m. to, hey babe, my water broke. And I was like, of course, like, I was like, what, all right. What do you need? She's like, well, nothing. I'm like trying to like help her. And she's like, no, the car's running. I put our bags in there. I just thought I'd let you sleep. Also, we don't deserve women.
No.
Also, I think we've watched too many movies where like when like birth is like an emergency thing. It's happening when it's happening now.
Right.
Water breaks. We're going now. Bring some hot water in. There's random people running around just delivering casseroles. Like it's not really how it goes.
No.
It's a little less enthusiastic than that.
Well, and so then I think I needed something from the shop because she's like, well, we'll swing. Or I hadn't driven home by myself, whatever. Anyway, so we swing by the shop and then she picks me up then I pick up whatever I needed to grab that was in my Jeep. And then we go down to the hospital. And then, it was like from that morning, our son wasn't born till like 2 a.m. that night. So it was labor for a while, but I didn't get to go to dresser.
I was going to ask you, so you probably still didn't.
No, I've never been to dresser.
You didn't.
No, because now it's his birthday weekend.
Like he's here.
So what are we going to do? And the first like 5 was with the grandparents and doing all the like, and now that he's getting older, it's kind of like, hey, do you want to do what dad wants to do yet? No? All right. What could we do? But this year he's turning 12 and we went whitewater rafting a couple of years ago, but he couldn't go until he was 12 years old. So for his 12th birthday, he said that he wants to go whitewater rafting in
awesome.
Yep. So we're going to be doing that in the UP. I got to look into that too. Make sure that the weekend I planned in my head works with the company that puts it on.
I thought that story was going to go a different direction. I thought you were going to say, well, what about my trip? Can you hold it?
Right. Trust me, that thought crossed my mind. I've been working on the filter between my brain and things exiting my mouth.
Very smart. You've been married a while.
Yep.
It's even more impressive considering the fact that you were asleep at the time, because usually like, but how about this? How about we just wait a little bit?
Are you sure? Are you sure you're gonna give birth today?
Are you sure that your water
Let me
broke? It
check.
wasn't like just an accident, It wasn't like a little too much grapefruit juice, You good,
It's go time.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Just figured I'd check.
I'm an analytical guy. I'm just trying to analyze everything.
Well, Brooke, are there any thoughts to leave us with as we kind of
words of wisdom?
Yeah. What have you got?
Yeah, well, anybody that is coming out to Moab, we're doing the big EJSX kickoff party at Zach's. We take over the whole upstairs. So a lot of really cool companies are putting that on. Free beer, free pizza. So come on out, meet the crew, hang out, have a couple cold ones, and we'll plan some trails. We're running the Pickle on Monday, Top of the World Tuesday, the official Revolution run up Hells on Wednesday. Brandon and I will be there working the show Thursday and Friday. We're going to alternate, one guy working, one guy wheeling. So anybody that wants to come tag along, hit the trails, let us know. Slide up in them DMs.
Awesome, Brooke. Well, we appreciate you, bud. And
Yeah,
look forward to
thanks
seeing
for
you
having me
soon.
on.
You bet.
This has been great. Always a blast.
Cool, man.
Revolution_gear_and_axle on the Instagram. I have it here. Watch.
For all your
pull
gear
up.
and axle
There it is.
needs.
Bam.
Pow.
Ooh, fancy.
I know. We make cool things happen out here. Brooke, always a pleasure, my friend. Take care. We'll be in touch.
Yeah,
We'll get those
keep
hats
in
on order.
touch. We'll see you on the trail somewhere, my friends.
Sounds good, dude.
Brooke from Revolution Gear and Axle hanging out with us on the show today. Good stuff.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo. Very good. Good stuff. Didn't know that story about the birth of
Jackson.
Jackson.
Oh yeah, right.
Whoops.
I mean, he was
So are we off
he
air
wasn't
now?
a whoops.
No,
but
I mean like whoops and you
that's-
had your life planned and all of a sudden I had to stop at the shop quick and actually we could run over to Kmart. I had to pick up a few things.
there's more to it. And now that I'm going back in my brain, I think I had gone to work that morning, and she called me while I was at work. It was the second one that I woke up in the middle of the night and everything was ready. But she called me and I was like, I'll come home. She's like, no, I'll just swing by the shop and pick you up. And then so that but then we get there and then it was like 11 in the morning and I was like, I don't know if anything's really happening. And I had gotten my phone had busted like the day before. And so insurance was overnighting me a new iPhone. So I was at like 11 in the morning. I was like, all right, well, like, you good? Because I'm going to go pick up my phone. But like, I'll be here if you need me. Like, if you don't want me to go, I get it. She's like, oh, just go get your phone.
They're going to take pictures
Yeah.
of this beautiful moment. Without
Right.
your
Yeah.
iPhone.
Like, how would I do that with this broken phone that I have?
Whoops.
I know. Yeah. She's great. My kids are great.
Yeah. Survivors, man.
Right. They are survivors.
Somehow, despite you, still here, still kicking, still alive. Do want to bring up our question of the week, and this was brought to my attention. I don't know if you've seen this picture online, but the guy who got abs tattooed. Have you seen? There's an image going around on social media. I didn't have time to put it on here, but there's a guy who got like a full-on set of abs, like skin tone and everything, but like tattooed on his abdomen, so that this summer he can go out and
That's a
get
brilliant idea, really.
It saves the work. Is that something that in lieu of like your constant workout routine, which has led you?
Would it work? I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I'm pretty vain, as you know, so I just want to be able to
You are
find
the Warren Beatty
opportunities.
to the Carly Simon song is what you are. Probably think that song is about you.
Yep.
No, I saw it and I was like, man, I love tattoos, like it, my jam. But
That's weird. I'm sorry.
and he's not like he has a bunch of other tattoos, and like I feel like this was his first. Maybe he has like barbed wire on his arm.
Yeah,
or
what's
some
his
shit like
plan?
that. probably wanted to be like Pam Anderson and barbed wire, but I don't know. The plan, like his plan clearly is to like lift his shirt up and from a distance with one good eye.
Well,
Like,
right,
it looks
like that's
he's
the thing, right.
Like, yeah, you get up close, you're like, dude likes
take my
heavy beer.
picture, but I'm going to be jumping while while you're taking my
We're
picture.
going to use gravity and the fact that I drink heavy beers
Yeah, what do you think that's
coaxiate
good?
themselves.
And I get when people are like, "Oh man, what is your tattoo going to look like when you're older? What's his tattoo going to look like when he's fatter?"
Still got that six pack. It just hangs low. It's got that's working the lower abdomen a lot on that. A lot of leg work. It's fascinating to me. Also, just in case you're wondering, the state of Idaho has legalized execution by firing squad. I'm just bringing that, putting that. It's now a thing. Governor just signed it into official effect.
You know that they had to have somebody in mind when,
Right.
Like they weren't like, "Hey, we've been talking about this for a long time. Like, let's bring it up." Somebody was on death row, and they were like, "That guy. The only thing that seems fitting for that crime is firing squad."
I feel like it's a gateway because clearly the execution is already legal in the state of Idaho.
Right.
So you probably have, I don't know, 2 or 3 different options, lethal injection.
Do you get to pick that when you're on death row? Do you get to be like,
I wonder if there's a wheel. I hope that there is like some sort of random, like total Price is Right. Like you could just like the final wheel, like,
"Oh, the gallows." All right. Well,
but like if they just like this is the gateway to keep on adding on like really old school ways of execution. Like, I hope I don't get drawn and quartered, or the hangman's noose for you. Like, also if you could just keep adding that to the
Stoning.
wheel,
Right.
that would be amazing.
oh man.
And then you have to have it like, closed circuit television but have like a pay-per-view option.
Jeez. Man, we're going there today. I get it.
Hey, you need state funding.
That's right.
You need those roads fixed in Idaho.
Yeah, they do too.
Need some more parking spots up in that. Was it the Triple Falls, the Double Falls? Where were we in?
Twin Falls.
Twin Falls.
Twin Falls.
Two, so double.
I mean, hey.
We need a little more parking down there. I have an idea.
I mean, yeah, that's a really cool state, to be honest.
I was surprised. I'd never been to Idaho. We went through it on Epic in 2021.
Yeah.
And like, wow, it's definitely, as soon as you cross over, like, this is not what you expected to see in Idaho. Beautiful, canyons and
the Snake River Canyon. Yeah.
Like, beautiful.
That was and then that was where we got to meet the local.
Ah, yes. Our friend from Idaho.
Yeah.
Who led us out into the woods, out into the areas where we were going to die.
Of the Sawtooth Mountains. I remember that. And I remember he's like, oh, it's right up here. It's not that far. We were looking for a place to camp that wasn't, that wasn't commercialized. And he's like, oh, no, there's a bunch of DNR land or whatever. And so he's like, oh, follow me. And we just followed him, and he was in a little Ranger or something.
And with his ratty dog, yeah. And Adam and I talked about this on episode 3 a little bit. But dog needed some assistance in life. Dude probably needed some assistance in life. And I don't know if it was because, not that it was closer to the end of the trip than the beginning. We'd already been through, 10 to 14 days of travel.
Yeah.
That we just were like, sure, following you seems like a good plan. Like we had just given up all, like, well, I guess if we die, we die. It's
but it's probably going to be great.
It's going to be a super cool way to go. The hills have eyes. They'll probably just use our skin as face masks. It'll be okay. We were at that point of the trip.
Oh yeah,
but it turned out nobody got hurt.
It was one of my favorite camp spots too. Yeah.
The best part was him just cuddling up right next to the campfire, throwing his jacket over himself, like, here.
Yep.
This is my spot for the night.
Booze helped with that one too.
Yeah, well, and his dog
Normally.
If his dog could talk, he'd have been like, help me.
Yeah, are you sure you don't want to ride with us?
You know why we can talk about this story? Because that guy's never going to hear about it.
That's true too.
He's pretty far off the grid to be worried about.
He's probably still there in that camp spot.
Right, with the place that we made the bathroom, it just happened to have what looked like a mountain lion cave, like 10 feet above it. Like, what's in there? Probably a mountain lion right now. Maybe not. Nature.
Oh, good times.
Good times. Great episode 4 with Brooke from Revolution Gear and Axle. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Our next episode, to tease you with it, we're recording next week with our good friend Elvie Shane. So we get to talk to Elvie about music and life and his journey. I know he's got a whole bunch of irons in the fire for this year musically, and he's been doing ice bath stuff.
Oh yeah,
did ice baths for 30 straight days.
Yep.
You got a chance to ice bath with him?
I mean,
did. Not together in the same bath. But it was the same bath.
It would have fit, but
hey, Ice Barrel, if you can make a double, a two-person.
Yeah, just patty cake in the ice bath just to pass the time.
Take your mind off of it.
Right.
Like, what could pass the time while I'm in here in 34-degree water? I know, a little game of patty cake. But Elvie Shane will be on the next episode, so that's pretty exciting. Let's go out maybe the same way we came in with some tunes. Thank you for watching, listening. Wherever you are listening and watching, make sure you subscribe. Share it with your friends. We're trying to move up above 240th ranked automotive podcast on Apple Podcasts.
We're going to get there. Running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she slide and tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that shit doing. Then she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on. Put that 90 in a hole. I'm beating it down. I'm back in that bag again. Whoa. Oh, say less. I'm back in that bag again. Yeah. Oh, say less. I'm back in that. Yeah, what you doing? Yeah, I'm back in that. Hey, where you going? Hey, back in that bag again. Bring me around your friends. You know that I'm bagging them. Request me on Facebook. No, I ain't adding.